And welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. Rodney was fixing to say something right before we came on the air. I'm not for sure what that was going to be,
I
but
said up. Whoops. Okay, that's what I said.
we're at the top 100 wrestlers. That is the program we're on. Number 77. Number 77 on my list, the Great Muta. The Great Muta did moves back in the day that no one else was doing. He was very exciting. Should have been a babyface from the beginning because he did things that nobody else could do. So I put the Great Muta, number 77. Jack, we've talked about the Great Muta, but what do you think about Great Muta?
I thought Muda was great. I first saw him, of course, in WCW, which was, most of us here in America, that's our first introduction to him. But, since then I've kept up with him, and he's had an amazing career. And every now and then he'll still pop up over here on shows, which I think is great too. Great talent.
Yeah, Muda is fantastic, and I truly believe used in the wrong way. Still, this everything he should be in. He should have been the Great Muta. It's just the whole thing with Gary Hart trying to recreate Kabuki was just a fool's errand as far as I'm concerned, because he did so much impressive stuff that you couldn't help but like him. I mean, it was great. He was absolutely fantastic.
And he was a whole lot better wrestler than the Great Kabuki was. Great
Kabuki was honestly, let's think about it. Kabuki was scary.
Yes.
Muda, there was nothing scary about Muda at all. Kabuki was scary. When he did that thing with his fingers where he would pop, that make you skin crawl. Did you remember him when Gary Hart had Kabuki and he had his fingers and he was popping them, and it was
after blowing the green mist.
Yes,
all over the place. Great stuff back there in the day with Roddy Piper, Gary Hart, and the Great Kabuki. By the way, two Kabukis were always around, so you didn't know which one you were getting, but you didn't know because they both looked the same and worked exactly the same. There was no difference in those. All right. No, I'll start with Rodney, number 77.
Well, I've been debating about this one, and every time I look at my list, I think there's somebody's missing. And I thought, well, it is my list, and of course, it is better than everybody else's. We all know that. But every time I look at my list, I think, well, there's somebody's missing, and it's true. Some of the greatest matches when I was growing up, and we were growing up, he was a part of. And when you're 7-time Georgia Tag Team Champion, you're 7 times World Tag Team Champion, Mid-Atlantic Tag Team Champion, one of the greatest, as far as I'm concerned, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. I had to put Gene Anderson on my list. He just was phenomenal in any capacity. He was the Brute. Many people said he couldn't talk. He absolutely could. It's just Ole hogged the mic all the time. That's what he did. But Gene was just a tremendous wrestler, and some of the greatest matches I'd ever seen he was in, and I could not leave him off my list.
And it's funny, but I think Ole was such a big character, so to speak, that you forget that Gene was so good. Because Ole did demand the attention, basically, in the tag team. From the time he got there, he demanded it. So, yeah, in my list, Gene Anderson didn't make it. Now, greatest tag team of all time, Gene Anderson's going to make it. But single wrestlers, he just did not do that. But he does deserve it because he knew what he was doing. And I think he taught Ole Anderson a lot of what he knew. Jack?
Oh, well, yeah.
Gene Anderson's fantastic. I got to see very, very little of him. Maybe 1 or 2 matches is all I got to see. But those still stick out in my mind. Of course, going back, and looking at video, you can see Gene was spectacular. He really was. And while Ole may have been a bigger character per se, like we said, Gene was the workhorse. Yeah. There was everything he did was so convincing.
And Gene also come up with a lot of the stuff that you saw very early in Georgia Championship Wrestling with him, and because Gene was the assistant booker at the time. So great stuff with Gene Anderson. But I just didn't think about putting him on as a single. But tag team, greatest tag team. The first match I ever remember seeing was Ole and Gene Anderson against Wrestling 2 and Wrestling 1. It was tremendous. I remember the mask being pulled way out, and then 2 just whipping them both. And you know what was great about Tim Woods? He kind of stepped back and let Wrestling 2 do all the stuff, which was very. I don't think that Tim really wanted to wrestle at that time. I think so he pushed everything to 2 and made him look like $1 million. And I think he helped get Wrestling 2 over in Georgia. There's no doubt about that. But Gene Anderson. All right, guys. Jack, 77.
My 77, you just mentioned Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods.
Oh, yes.
And a little background on him. Born in Utica, New York, had a degree in agricultural engineering from Cornell University, a degree in mechanical engineering from Michigan State. Extremely intelligent man. He was also before he started professional wrestling, he was a collegiate wrestler. Won 2 Big Ten titles in 1958 and 1959 for Michigan State, and a second NCAA tournament in 58 and 59 also. So he had credentials. He was legit, which, that was very well respected inside the industry when you started. And one little other tidbit before we start talking is he was Mr. Wrestling without the mask at his beginning. He was Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods before the mask came along. He didn't adopt the mask until a little bit later on in his career.
It's incredible because he went back and forth wearing the mask, didn't wear the mask, wear the mask, didn't wear the mask.
Yeah.
But it did not do anything for his people still loved him no matter what he did.
Yeah.
Now Wrestling 2, completely different. He was going to wear that mask, and there was no taking that thing off. And once he put it on, but Tim Woods would do it. He'd take it off. He'd be able to he'd get to go against the world heavyweight champion, which caused a big riff, back in the day with Wrestling 2, because he said he didn't respect the mask. Well, what he didn't understand is everybody knew who he was anyway.
Yeah.
And also had a great nightclub in Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Pips, I believe was what it was called, wasn't it? Mr. Pips.
You're close.
What was it called?
It's right. I think you're right. It was,
Okay.
we saw it in one of the programs that we have been reviewing. I can't remember what it was, but it is Pips or Fips or something to that degree. Yes.
Tim Woods,
if
right?
Robert Walker's on, he'll be able to tell us.
Mr. Wrestling.
Yeah, he was truly one of the best. Whereas 2 might have been more over in Georgia. Wrestling 1 was over in the Carolinas, and he was super over there. And I will never forget his sleeper hold. He was a master of the sleeper hold, and that was the deal. And we went to Columbus, Georgia, seeing Dick Slater against Mr. Wrestling #1. Place was packed. Great match. Slater at #1, and the thing about it is they had, I guess, done a deal the previous week where the belt was held up or split, and it was Georgia the half of the Georgia Heavyweight Championship belonged to Tim Woods, the other half belonged to Dick Slater, and I think Slater won that particular night. But it was a tremendous match, tremendous wrestler.
I think Mr. Wrestling prior though was over in Georgia.
It was.
And I think that's the reason that Wrestling 2 got over so well in Georgia. And I think it's because Tim Woods kind of passed the torch to him, basically.
Yeah.
And said, here we go. I'm going back to the Carolinas. They pay me a whole lot more money, and that's where I'm going to go. And you're going to be Wrestling 2 here, and I'm going to move on. And then he comes back to Atlanta and don't really want to wrestle, but they keep on asking him to come back.
Yes.
And keep on asking him to come back. And he said, no, I don't.
And that was because he was over. And every time 1 and 2 was a team or against each other, you had a crowd. And it didn't matter who they was against, the Andersons or against the Assassins or whoever they were against. It was good. And
Well,
you
and
got Catch
during
Wrestling 1
those-
and 2 with the Rock and Roll Express of the day.
Yeah.
During those last few years, he had already started a heating and air conditioning business in the Carolinas. So he liked sticking closer to home and taking care of that business too.
Hey, you can't blame him. He knew he had been in wrestling business a long time.
Yep.
All right, y'all ready to see what the insiders have got to say? Michael Barr is with us. Michael, how you doing? His wife had a surgery on her arm, by the way, and so we're praying for her and for a speedy recovery. So, Michael, we hope your wife does well with that. Michael Rollerson.
There you go.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. Rushman is with us.
Hey.
Hey, guys. Larry Brock is with us.
Hey, Larry.
One of the great referees of professional wrestling. People hated him in Dothan, Alabama, though. I'm telling you, they'd always say, in the referee, Larry Brock, he got the biggest boo of anybody in the whole night. But tremendous man. Tremendous person, and we hope you're doing good, Larry. Robert Grice is with us. Hello, gentlemen. And Glenn Allen Shelton is with us as well. Kevin Pendley, he's got his number 77, and it's Mil Mascaris.
Yes.
Mascaris, or however many people said his name.
Yes.
So is it Mascaris? Is it how do you say this?
I would say Mascaris. Mascara sounds like he's wearing mascara, which is very possible for the way he walked.
Now, he was on my top 100, and I was just waylaid by Jack and Rodney on that. And so I just, but now there's somebody else that was on, Austin Idol was on Jack's, and we waylaid his too. So me and Rodney did him. So, hey, I guess a payback for doing so. But number 77, Rodney's favorite luchador. Now, I don't think Rodney has too much problems. It's Jack the one that really had the problem.
That's true. that was all Jack. I just
I don't deny that.
I held him while Jack hit him, kicked him.
So we won't even go there. You can rewatch it when you see the mascaras. Think of it. He should be higher. Tim Woods, I'm guessing, or Great Muta, or I'm guessing he's talking about Great Muta because
we're sorry. It's probably be at the beginning. It's probably Muda.
Muda
should be higher.
I cannot give him a higher rating, basically because it was very short run in right here in the United States, and I never see anything he ever did in Japan. I never watched any Japan stuff. The only thing I actually watched close to that was the women's wrestling in Japan, which I always enjoyed. I thought that was always great. The Jumping Bomb Angels and what was the other women's name? There was another team that was Jumping Bomb Angels and something else. I can't remember.
The Glamour Girls.
The Glamour Girls, yes, that was great matches. But these were all in Japan. They came to work for WWE too. The other team, whatever their names were. Hello, Terrence. I'm sorry. I was talking about the Jumping Bob Angels. I got excited for a minute, but I'm sorry. Jason, a Monday. Hey, everyone. The Great Muta was one of the best of his time. Yes, I do. I would like to see the stuff. Is it on YouTube, Jack? Some of the stuff Muta did in Japan?
Oh, yeah. And he still occasionally does matches.
I've got to go back and see some of the stuff he did. I'm pretty sure great matches. All right, Victor Nash. Oh, Jason, did we get Jason Mondays? I think, yeah, we got it. Victor Nash. Hello, everyone. My number 77 is Ray the Crippler or the Bond Bomber Stevens. Yeah, I would agree there. Tremendous wrestler. He did not get over in Atlanta for some reason. They just didn't. I don't think it was his fault. I think it's just the way they booked him. There was always bad booking, folks. It ain't the same. This ain't nothing new.
I'll help you here, Brent. What the problem was is they tried to put Ray Stevens in a group, and Stevens needed to be by himself.
I agree with you.
He needed to be a single. He needed to be a great single because he could be. He didn't need a whole entourage that like they did with I think put Tor Kamada and the Great Mephisto together. Let me just say Mephisto and Tor Kamada.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but 10 minutes of listening to him talk about how many wives he has in his harem was nauseating.
Our father, Ron West, loved the Great Mephisto. He loved him. Got to remember now, he was one of the original Mask and Minos. Might have been tremendous then when Jimmy Dykes, JC Dykes, was doing the announcing, doing the interviews for him. But when he would do the interview in Atlanta, you would go to sleep. Just give him 30 seconds to say, "I'll be, will be," and let me tell you, we will be in.
Let me tell you something, Gordon. I will be down in Carrollton tonight, and I will bring my harem right in Campbell. It'll take a while to get there, but never forget it. I'll just ride down with Abdullah and Mark Lou, and we'll go together. Never mind.
Wendy Harkins is with us. Hey, Wendy, how are you doing? Hey, Wendy, Russell South. Saturday, October 30th. I think the kids can dress up. Maybe the adults can dress up as well. Come as your favorite wrestler. Come as Randy Macho Man Savage, The Rock.
Wear a hamburger bun on your head, and you can be just like Christian Pierce. So
Saturday, October 30th.
Yes.
Arab, Alabama, Russell South, the Rec Center. Get there. You'll enjoy it. Big Halloween spectacular. And so get there and watch that. Number 77, Michael says, Pack Song.
Yes.
Boy, I tell you what, that man had a big old head, didn't he? I've noticed Jack did a picture today on Facebook.
About Pack Song about, I believe this head size is not one of them.
No, he just really did. Jack did a photograph on his Facebook page today of Maurice Tillette. I believe that's how you say his name, ain't it?
Yeah.
Which was the French Angel, the original French Angel.
The original, yep.
Now, he had a huge head, too. I noticed on that one. But what a tremendous photograph of him on there, on that Facebook page. Where did you get that at, Jack?
There's a guy who actually has a page dedicated to him. And he buys and displays all kinds of memorabilia from his life and career, and it's fascinating. We need to dig through there and do a show on some of that stuff sometime, and maybe get that guy to come on. But he really goes into the history of everything that he went through. And one thing, that was who Shrek was based off of.
Wow,
the original French Angel, and the guy was only, I think, like 5'7". He was not very tall.
Wow.
But just that his head was so big. He had that, whatever that disease is that Andre had. The only difference was his head is what got so big. And his body was a little disproportionate, but he didn't get the height out of it.
Major attraction.
That's the same thing that Austin Idol had.
No, he and Mil Mascaris just had a big head.
Oh. Sorry.
That's why Mill never took the mask off, because otherwise his head would have exploded.
kept it confined inside there.
Yeah.
Where do you list Don Jardine, the mask puller? I'm not for sure he is on my list. I don't know if he is. Rodney, I know he may or may not be on your list.
He may or may not be on my list.
Jack, did Don Jardine make your list?
I want to say he is. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that I did think a lot of him.
He always scared me. I don't know why. There was just something about him that terrified me when I was a kid. I hated to see him walking down the aisle.
He was like he had that mask with no emotion whatsoever. Reminds you of Michael Myers in Halloween movies. Yeah. Just a machine. And because Gary Hart did all of his talking, he was like a machine when we saw him as the spoiler in Georgia.
And didn't he train the Undertaker?
I believe he did help train him. Yes.
Yeah, but I think Undertaker took a lot of his mannerisms.
He did,
and equated that to his character,
especially the walking the ropes.
Yeah,
he did it great. So would Owen Hart, may he rest in peace, be placed at 77? I believe Owen Hart, if he made the list, and I'm not for sure he made my list, but if he did, he would be weak, because Owen Hart was tremendous, tremendous wrestler. Jack, what do you think about Owen Hart?
Yeah, Owen's on my list. He, my criteria is back in the, if they worked in the territory days at some capacity, then they made my list. And of course, Owen started with Stampede, his dad's promotion, and paid his dues and was one of the better craftsmen to ever step in the ring.
Yeah, Rodney, Owen Hart,
tremendous wrestler, and of course, he may or may not be on my list.
Kevin, who was the original Kabuki? Well, the original Kabuki was a guy that was out of Thailand or something, but because there was actually a Kabuki before the Great Kabuki that we all know, and I can't remember his name at this moment in time. But I think you could do a search, because I did do a thing on the Great Kabuki, and I had the original one, the Great Kabuki, which was 2 of those, and the Great Muta. Possibly everybody that blew green mist or red mist at any point in time. Now, not the new people, because I don't know that. I think 3,200 people since then have at some point blew green mist out.
There was also a Kabuki in the United Kingdom.
That is correct.
So,
I remember that one.
So a bunch of Kabukis were out there. Richard Hood says, hello, Michael Barr, Rodney West, Brent West, and Jack Lord. And hello to you, Richard. Steve Richards, the master of the corkscrew headlock. My choice for 70-70 is John the Golden Greek Tolis. I've seen him. I didn't get to see him wrestle, but I have watched some videos of him. Tremendous wrestler. Yep. Jason, on Monday, Gene Anderson was great after his stroke. He was great as a manager too. And that's when he would, you could see that he could do an interview. Peter Mayavia, 77. Yes, didn't ever make my list. I'm pretty sure he didn't make my list, but tremendous wrestler. Jack, what do you think about Peter Mayavia?
Very deserving to be in the top 100. He's not in mine. That's not to say he doesn't deserve to be in one, though. Yeah.
Rodney, Peter Mayavia.
Yes, tremendous wrestler. And then, yes. And then and the reason I say tremendous, I just got through seeing a lot of the Polynesian Championship Wrestling come on YouTube, and I'm going through that now. There are some things that are absolutely unwatchable, and it's because Mark Lewin and Sullivan.
And Lars Anderson.
It's fantastic. What?
And Lars Anderson. You remember when Polynesian Pro Wrestling used to come on? I think it was the what is it?
Financial News Network. Yes, that's when we started watching it, and that's when we saw the unfortunate incident with Lars Anderson, Kevin Sullivan, and a baseball bat. Let's just say that, being that he could not get up that high with his leg and his foot, he used a baseball bat to accomplish the same thing. Mark Lewin had him up in the atomic drop position. And then let's say that Sullivan hit 2 home runs. It was the most awful thing I'd ever seen.
Oh, man. We'll move on from there. The Minnesota Record Crew for Rush Band. Oh, man. I'll have to go back and watch that.
You hadn't seen that?
I remember it, but man, is it on video? I want to see it again. Oh,
it was probably censored by now.
That's worse than Jerry Lawler getting crotched at the ring post, and then he come back with the loser of the match is going to get crotched in the rope in the crazy stuff. They've always done stupid stuff in the wrestling business, folks.
It was the groin match, Brent.
The groin match, yes. Number 77 is Pedro Morales. I think he is on my list, but very, very low. I don't think people understand how much Pedro Morales was over and drew a ton of money as the champion, as the WWF champion. Jack, Pedro Morales.
I thought Pedro was great. Of course, I only knew him through magazines, at the time that he was wrestling, but later on, I've been able to go back and watch some of his stuff. I mean, he had one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen. Just a great baby face, had such a great understanding of how to get his opponents over and make those matches mean something. Even when he went in there with some guys that really shouldn't have been in there with him, still made him look great.
Pedro Morales, right?
Yeah, he was fantastic. So it's a great match with Pedro Morales against George the Animal Steel. Check it out. It's a super match, and it really showed how over he was. He was a part of the what we say the trifecta at the time. It was Bruno, Pedro Morales, and Ivan Putski. Just the big three.
I know this is absolutely has nothing to do with the top 100. By the way, this is from Kevin Barkwell. But I was watching some old Mid-South matches of Wendell Cooley and Al Perez and can't understand why they never got a major push outside of Mid-South. They were incredible, in my opinion. And I think it goes on. I think that's where it starts. Stop. When we were there, we said when Wendell Cooley would come out that he was over thin. I think the reason they never got a push is because they put that stupid rock and roll gimmick on both of them. I think it just destroyed them by going anywhere else. Wendell Cooley did get a good push though. He goes to actually to Continental and gets a big push after that. He actually goes to I believe he actually went to Memphis as well and got a great push as Rick Casey. Yeah. But he had a great career and would have got a great career in World Championship Wrestling, but he had a bad knee by the time he got there. Yeah. And unfortunately, he came there. He hurt himself, and then he did try to get WCW to pay for his knee replacement or knee surgery, and Dad put a stop to that. So he would said that happened way before, and Glenn, Alan Shelton, prayers, Michael. Yes, Glenn, you've had both of your arms worked on or shoulders worked on, man. Dr. Philbo Grice, hello, gentlemen. How you doing, Dr. Philbo Grice? And so now let's go on down. Rest in peace, the Snowman. I forgot that he had passed away.
Yeah.
Oh man.
He was in his 70s.
Yep.
Wow.
I did not realize he was that much older.
He was well up in his 70s. He was close to 50 when he had his Memphis run.
Yeah, did not realize that he was that old. But we talk about him a little bit here. Horrible run while he was in Mid-South Wrestling. I don't know if it was his fault or he just didn't like Bill Watts. He joined there's a whole line of them people didn't like him. So. Stephanie Wood, how are you doing, Stephanie? She has been fighting COVID for the last almost 40 days.
Wow.
So we hope she gets to feeling better. I know she had some other problems. So Stephanie, we are praying for you, and we hope you get better. Stephanie, a great friend of ours, and we've known her since I think 1983. I think that's when we met her, 1983. So we hope you get to feeling better. Charles, that reminds me of going back in the mid-'60s in Georgia when the World Tag Team Champion was Gene and Lars Anderson. Lars did most of the talking, but Gene would make a brief comment to set him up. At that time, watching on TV, it was obvious that Gene was where's that at is? Gene was in charge. The memories of a 5-year-old open to correction. Gene was tremendous. I never liked Lars, though. There's something about him I did not like.
You probably had to be 5 years old to appreciate Lars Anderson.
Lars had his moments. What soured me with Lars is because of his opposition to Georgia Championship Wrestling. Had nothing to do with his ability, even though he did need to invest in bigger tights as he got going on in his career.
Lord have mercy, yes.
But I will tell you this: when he was in Georgia, it seems like it was before the blue tights was there. He was still in the maroon, and he was wearing the maroon striped boots, and he did the thing with Thunderbolt Patterson. Was awesome.
Was this
Really
after
good.
the Polynesian pro wrestling thing?
No, it
No.
was not. By that time, well, we understood. Never mind. I'm not going there. I almost got myself in trouble.
Lars Anderson, the only man to work the Guinness World Book of Records.
Are there any lock shooters that ever got the big push that most wrestlers wouldn't challenge? Jack, do you know of any?
Well, I'm certain there are. I mean, there's still today legitimate guys who could still shoot that are in there that with Olympic level skills that never got the push that they deserve.
Yeah, and people and now there's a new guy just signed with WWE.
Gable Stevenson. They made a big deal out of him signing last night, and now he may have started training by now, but I mean the Olympics were just a few months ago, so he doesn't have a lot of training under his wing. Well, so, I'm interested.
There was a special place that they set up for him and sent somebody there to train him. Now, who would that be?
I'm not sure.
So I believe he will be good if he's a Kurt Angle. If he's anything like
I hope he's good. I do.
Number 77, Charles said Buddy Rose. We've talked about Buddy Rose a few times on here. Tremendous wrestler.
Fantastic.
Happy birthday to Bobby Fulton, one half of the Fantastics. So we will say hello to him and happy birthday. My number 77 is Mr. Pandemonium, Dick Slater, Dirty Dick Slater. He had all kinds of names, didn't he?
Yeah. And lived up to every one of them.
He did. Dirty Dick Slater, Mr. Excitement, Pandemonium, Dick Slater, just all kinds of names. In my opinion, should have been world champion at least once. Yeah, I think he had just had a little bit of problem that kept him from getting that. But he was a great wrestler. Yeah. Jason, all three, Muda, Anderson, Mr. Wrestling, were great in their times.
Yep.
Wendy Harkins said, everyone, please stay safe. You're in the areas that have a possible severe weather tomorrow.
Yeah. Going to be hitting up this way.
Richard Hood, Mr. Wrestling 1, got hurt in the plane crash, and that's when 2 took off. Well, not necessarily, because, and this is the reason, Tim Woods actually wrestled the very next night after the plane crash. He was the only one that really did not get hurt. He was hurt, but I guess he was in just great shape. That I think the what happened was, and this came right directly from Tim Woods, is that he was behind the pilot, and when he actually pushed the pilot through the actual plane. So I think the pilot took the majority of, because I think all the chairs and stuff might have broken in there. So the
momentum pushed him. It wasn't Tim Woods took the guy's head and shoved it through the windshield.
Oh no, he didn't do that.
No. I mean, it was the momentum of the force of the impact that forced Woods and his chair forward.
It was actually 2 weeks after the crash before he came back wrestling. But they said that was a testament to how tough he was because he was still in a tremendous amount of pain from the crash, but that he wanted to protect kayfabe because remember, he was the only baby face on that flight. The rest of them were heels. And he was listed at the hospital under his real name of George Wooden. So, and they put him down as a promoter to try to confuse everybody.
And which was probably good. It could have probably killed the whole territory if they did it. They knew what happened. The one thing that wrestling too, because what was 1973, wasn't it?
1975 was the plane crash.
So wrestling 2 was already established by that time because he was established in 1973. So and Jerry Jarrett did that, by the way, and Ole Anderson, a couple other people.
And Woods wrestled. He didn't retire until 83. So still had a lot of years ahead of him.
Chris said, Jack, who was your favorite promoter to work for?
Ron West. He was also the hardest promoter to work for.
He wanted you to do well, and he would yell at you.
And if you didn't, you didn't have to wonder.
No, he would let you know. Have y'all watched the new NWA wrestling? No, we have not. But I think if someone does watch it and would like to keep us up to date on it, we'd like to, because we're already watching a lot of
Well,
wrestling.
I believe it was Richard that was telling us that they're going to have a taping coming up in Atlanta at Channel 8.
They are, and it's not expensive. It's only like $4.99 a month to catch their show. Now that doesn't count the pay-per-views; those are separate. And I need to do that because I know a lot of the people. In fact, Rush Freeman is one of the young guys that they're using on there. That is a part of Wrestle South as well. So a lot of ties. I know a lot of the folks there. I think it'd be a great show. The first season, I enjoyed it. Just a little bit too much comedy. So I don't know if they've changed direction with this newest season or not, but we'll see.
Rushman talks about that Mascaras was a wonderful technical wrestler, but the mic work not so good.
He was the originator of I need to get my stuff in, and I use the word stuff sparingly.
I feel so bad that I put him on my list.
You thought it was a safe pick, didn't you? You didn't realize. You didn't think Jack was going to turn on you in that one.
I didn't know he was going to turn heel on me right there and on that thing. Jack the Snack Lord, the Christian Pierce, Jack the Snack Lord.
There's Hamburger Head himself.
Well, now how did he do that? How did he do that where he did two different little things there? How did that happen? I wonder. Mr. Wrestling was top dog in Mid-Atlantic, Terrence Hardy. Mickey Mayfield, do you guys see the dark side of the ring? Yes, unfortunately, yes, I did watch that. Yes.
I think that is the perfect example of if you want to be remembered well, act better.
Exactly. Yes, I agree. And we used to preach that on a daily basis. Don't do that. Don't do that. Save your money and just don't do stupid stuff. Rodney, have you watched The Plane Ride from Hell?
I have not.
Well, don't. You'll
No, I have not. I have not watched
that's the reason I didn't like those particular people. That's what you're going to tell yourself.
There's nobody on there that I was surprised about. I mean, I knew the story, forever. It's not like it's new information that's being presented.
No, it's maybe new to some sponsors. Maybe what was new to. Great Mephisto got into it with two in the locker room and making yes, that was and that's according to what story you hear, who actually did what. Not for sure what happened. Hey, his birthday weekend is October 30th. So Glenn could drive to Arab, have a
go.
Celebration.
We will sing happy birthday
the Halloween
to you.
Costume contest.
We could redo a Jim Cornette spot if you'll bring a cake.
Hey, it's only been redone 3 or 4 times, so the 5th time
this year, just this year alone.
Rick Brooks didn't Muda team with Buzz towards them, but yes, he did. Yes, they had matches together, and then the Magic Dragon, was that what it's called? The Dragon Master. I can't remember the guy's name now, but he teamed with him for a while. Wendy Harkins said, already hoping to make it to Wrestle South that night.
Yeah.
Good deal. Jason, folks who only saw WWF Hacksaw really missed out. From 84 to 87, he was awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Which I thought he was great in WWF, but he was so much better in Mid-South.
Yes, they really knew how. Bill Watts knew how to get him over. Jack, where would you rank Lord Humongous?
He didn't make my top 100 list, but I thought it was a tremendous gimmick. Jeff Van Camp, I think the world of him. I just it's one of my favorite gimmicks from back in the day.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought Jeff did it justice. I thought he knew what he was doing. He knew how to do the whole stuff and would listen. I can remember
and wanted to do it. He wanted to do that.
Yes.
Yeah. Just tremendous stuff.
Some of the others did not want to do it, and you could tell.
Yeah.
And we won't say Sid. And
We need to get Alan Martin on here one night to tell the baseball bat story.
Yeah, if he'll come over.
Sure.
By state guidelines, we're running the show, Jack. You are required to have an ambulance there, like high school football games.
No. Not for wrestling. That we could do a whole show on how useless our athletic commission is here in the state of Alabama. They charge us like we're an MMA or a boxing, but then they discard us. They don't check. They don't help. They don't. Okay. Well, hit me up on Facebook.
Folks who only saw the WWF version of Hacksaw, I'm thinking say Hacksaw Jim Duggan because that word really missed out. His Mid-South stuff from 1847. Well, I think we already said that, did we? I think we already said that. Maybe not. Maybe it's in there twice.
Oh, she followed up. They followed up with it. That's what happened.
Don Jardine was a super destroyer in Mid-Atlantic. It's from Terrence.
There's some great matches when he was doing that on YouTube.
Yes, I will agree with you. I don't think they should have went. Didn't he go back to? Wasn't that a thing where he went back to being the Blue Blazer?
Yes.
Because I mean, they did great stuff with him, and then put the Blue Blazer black thing on out. Just
Owen's problem was he could have came in as somebody else and not had the Hart name and probably done a lot better. But he was in the shadow of Brett, and that I think that hurt him for a long time.
Oh boy, if you've never seen the match between Bret Hart and Owen Hart, oh my gosh, that's a wrestling clinic. You want to see something that was tremendous. I don't know if that was a SummerSlam or WrestleMania. I'm not for sure which one that was, but tremendous stuff. Glenn Allen Shelton, TNT. I'm not for sure. Rick Brooks, you guys know Buzz trained The Undertaker very briefly. Yes, he took money and ran. That's what
very, very briefly.
What's Nag?
That was about what we're talking about, the Great Kabuki and all the different Kabukis.
Nagurski.
Top 3 in the WWF. Not for sure. Barry Windham on anyone's list. Yes, I think Barry Windham is on my list.
He was talking about Pedro, Bruno, and etc.
Barry Windham, I believe, is on my list. Jack.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Barry's on my list.
We would ask Rodney, but he ain't going to tell us. So, Glenn, Bruno, Pedro, and Billy Graham.
Yeah,
Billy Graham.
I'll agree with that.
Yep. He's up in his 50s, but he did outdo his Blackjack Mulligan. Blackjack Mulligan was tremendous, though, in his earlier years.
I don't know that if he outdid him. I think for the time, Blackjack Mulligan was a huge name everywhere in the United States because he wrestled all over the place. TV was obviously, nationwide when Barry come along. So, he probably got more publicity, but I don't know that he had a better career than Blackjack, maybe equal to it, but a heck of a career.
Boy, he was over, and more than Carolinas, he was over.
And a very nice man. I was fortunate to get to know him the last few years before he passed away. It's really super nice guy.
Funny guy too. Funny guy. He keep you laughing. Prayers out to Stephanie. Yes, we want to tell her we are thinking about her and we are praying for her. Number 77, Wild Bull of the what's that say?
Pampas. Pedro Furpo.
I never can say his name. Okay. Michael said Lars lost his silver dollars to Dusty. Where was that? Was it in Atlanta or Florida?
He lost his silver dollars to Dusty and his rocks to Kevin Sullivan.
We may have to go to an adult-only show after tonight.
Lars, I've if you haven't seen that, this is the thing with Lars Anderson and the 1,000 silver dollars. He's doing it in Florida, and it is a part of the Florida Championship Wrestling from Florida on YouTube. It's there.
I have to see that. I grew up in Florida territory and never watched WWF, WWE until the late 80s. Larry.
We found out that that happened a lot. We thought the Georgia Championship Wrestling would be huge, or World Championship Wrestling would be huge in the Mid-South, and a lot of people didn't even know the show was on. It was unusual. When we came from Alabama and Tennessee, people watched it, but for whatever reason, they did not watch it in the Mid-South for whatever, not in the huge way that other places did.
Rushman, can we just skip to Rodney's top three? Lewin, Sullivan, Lars. Rodney, keep rolling it out. So did I grow up in Florida and watch mostly the NWA, kept up with the rest through the magazines, and that's what it was. That's the reason Jerry Lawler was over, because he was in the magazine every week at some point inside the magazines. And Jerry Lawler was very smart to make sure he was in the magazines as well. Think about it, Bill Dundee wasn't in every magazine, but Jerry Lawler made it to almost every magazine. So there you go. Rodney, the taping is this week, NWA Wrestling. Larry Vanderpool, pay-per-view is coming for NWA to Oak Grove, Kentucky, near my home in Nashville.
Yeah, promoted by Tried and True Wrestling. So that's a great promotion in itself.
Glenn Allen said, notice James Storms back the NWA, his former partner, LA Knight. Wasn't he just LA Knight? Was he not just on NXT?
He is. He's talking about James was the former partner of LA Knight.
Oh, okay. I really love LA Knight, by the way.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah, I think he's getting called up to the main roster.
I believe he's very good. So we won't talk about James Starr. Neat T-shirt, Jack.
This is Ray Fury, a friend of mine. Great independent talent. You ever see him on a card anywhere? He is worth the price of admission entirely by himself. He's that good. And these are available at ProWrestlingTees.com. And while you're there, just go ahead and snag you a Pro Wrestling Inside Out shirt too.
That's right. And hey, some new merchandise coming soon, if I can just stay awake enough to get it done. My birthday, October 31st. His birthday is on Halloween.
Oh, that's spooky.
Gary Nation is a Lord Humongous. Yes, he is.
He's won something. Shortest Lord Humongous I've ever known in my life.
Jeff did it better or as good as Sid. I don't think Sid did it very well, Michael.
He didn't want to do it. Let me be very frank about it. Sid did not want to be humongous at all. That has to do with, if I'm not mistaken, Bob Polk is the one that found him.
I think he did.
To me, if you say Lord Humongous, Jeff is always going to come to mind.
Yes, me too. And there was another guy, Mike Stark, I believe, that did it.
Yeah, he was the first one to do it. And then Jeff took up the mantle, I guess, in Mid-South, and like we say, fully embraced it and went.
Southeastern first.
Southeastern?
Yeah, he did that. I watched some Kabuki versus Muda videos not long ago. Watched some good bouts, yes. Florida, that wasn't right. I think LOA was. So, Jimmy Ellison, that was fun with Dusty and Lars. Michael Barr, where did Jesse Ventura get his start in wrestling? I'm not for sure. I don't know if we anything on him yet.
I'm pretty sure he was trained by Vern.
I believe he was. We'll have to look that up. And
we'll look that up.
Lawler was 3 and 4 list every week. Yes, he was. That's true. Dennis was asking about Mass Nightmare Ted Allen. Ted Allen was one of the original Nightmares with Danny Davis. Then Ted Allen wanted to leave to promote his own shows, basically. And so he went back to Georgia, promoted his own shows, and Ken Wayne was put in as that. And they might have been, before then, they might have been called the Galaxies. I'm not for sure. Ken Wayne might have been. Yeah, whatever that name was. What's your opinion of the Blood Hunter? Who?
He was in that promotion out in Texas, that SWE Fury, and if we're talking about the same one, and he's also Hannibal of Hannibal TV, and I'm not a fan of that man.
I didn't even know that's who that was. Yeah, I've watched his interviews. I have watched his interviews. I didn't even know who that was. But Kevin Pendley, Sid's son, was the skinniest humongous.
Yeah.
Look at him under Sean Richter in Hollywood before LA Knight. Great wrestler, by the way.
I've had Sean on my Facebook for several years. Great guy.
Because didn't he just on one of the NXT he went against whatever Bull Buchanan son's name is.
I can't even remember what name he's under there now.
Oh no! So all right, we get one more, and then we're gonna get off of here. Jack's got a place he needs to be. So is Phil Hickerson on y'all's list? No, he's not on my list. He should be probably, but he's not on my list. Jack, is he on your list?
No, I love Phil. I just didn't get to see a lot of him.
I believe he's on Rodney's.
Yes, he was. He was at number 89 on my list. Phil Hickerson.
All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we're going to be talking next week. Number 76. Who's number 76 on your list? Rodney's not going to let you know who's number 76. So, Jax, you'll know in the next few days who's 76 on mine if you watch, if you look at the Facebook posts. And if you've not subscribed to YouTube, get over there and do it, because you never know when Facebook will get turned off again and we have to go to YouTube.
It is not Bill Mascaris. I'll give you a spoiler.
All right, folks, we'll see everyone next week. Thank you so much for being a part of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We certainly do appreciate it. We're running up on the 36,000 people, followers, insiders. And that's just not, we've had on one post almost 370,000 people reached on the Guerrero. That's the biggest post we've ever done on our Facebook page. So thank y'all so much for
before we leave, I want to say I was very surprised that last night on the WWE draft that actually Hulk Hogan is going to AEW.
We'll see you next week right here.